Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today it's back into Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is our PBEM with the devilish Mr. Lodrick. And let's see what Lodrick has in store today. It is March 7th. We're going to do the combat resolution here. So it'll be March 7th, March 8th of 1942. Now, we went over this time and tried to fix our escort situation over by Perth. We lost a few cargo ships over there. I was a little salty about it. Let's hope we got that fixed up. We've talked quite a bit about China, so I feel like if you've been watching these, you kind of know the situation in China now and a little bit more context. Um, we're going to be spending more and more time in Australia. Obviously, that's heating up as he's sitting at Port Moresby, not in Australia, but just not that far off the coast of Australia, down Papua New Guinea. So, anyway, let's jump into it. March 7th, March 8th, 1942. Combat resolution. Always get excited when I get these in the email. You're like, oh, anything could happen in this game, certainly. Very curious to see when he starts his march towards Rangoon. Now you can see all the activity around Port Moresby there. There's just a few Japanese ships out in the area. Now, of course, historically, the Japanese never really took Port Moresby. They were trying to, and then there was a carrier battle, pretty, pretty famous one, and they never really went back for a second bite at the apple. Okay, we've merged up. Now, that was over by Perth, and you saw we had a destroyer merge in there. Now, hopefully, we'll start blowing some submarines up because I'm tired of him blocking our way into Perth. I mean, that's just not something we can allow. Saw all the ship activity out there by Singapore. I think that's where he almost certainly has his Indian Ocean carrier force stationed. Okay, this is out at Calayan. We haven't really talked about that. Just a little island out here north of the Philippines, and he's going to take that with no opposition. Getting our Coast Watcher reports now. He's starting to move down those islands south of Rabaul, which is kind of where the flashpoint will end up being around Luganville, Nadeni, Afate, down in those areas. And we'll talk more about those this month. Okay, there's one of the Japanese subs, and it was a destroyer of ours, the Edsel, that either he found or we found him, but this is what we wanted, and this is why I went out here and tried to take care of this as much as I could. We got two destroyers in on this Japanese sub, but as you can see, we located him, but we didn't do any damage to him. And we're merging up all over the place with destroyers out there. So hopefully that'll be the end of that. Now we see a periscope out southwest of Colombo. These are all of our recon aircraft or naval search aircraft reporting back what they're seeing. So much going into Semarang, we're just never going to be able to fight off anything here at Java. We just got to slow them down as much as humanly possible. Okay, we reported that we hit something. Our Catalinas can bomb things while they're out, and we're reporting we hit something. Now, because of fog of war, there's no way for us to really know what we hit or, if it did as much damage as we're claiming it did, or that we even hit it, to be honest with you. 27 Sallies. This is west of Yunnan. We talked about this during the Chinese section, how I split up these two stacks. We take 142 casualties. These guys are really exposed out here. Got to try to get them back to the line. And then we get into southeast China with the two different stacks, and this one's just been bombed over and over and over. 101 casualties this time around. The other stack, it looks, I mean, we've got a chance to get the heck out of here. We'll see if we do. This stack gets bombed again. Another 158 casualties. Just an unbelievable bombing campaign out here. Okay, this is a group trying to get to I Chang. 26 casualties. I think this is some cavalry that I'm trying to get over to I Chang. I'd like to start expanding out here, and we talked about that too, and playing the partisan war a little bit more. Two Nates sweep, nothing doing there. Five Oscars over Changsha, nothing doing there because we don't have any fighters in the area. Now we're east of Yan'an with 27 Sallies. Just eight casualties on the ground there. We're up in the mountains a little bit with that crew. Six Anns in on this group, eight casualties there. Four more Anns, nothing, no casualties on that run. 28 Sonias come in on this stack that I was hopeful about anyway. They take 49 casualties, damage one plane. All right, lots of sightings by our ground troops now. So by now you kind of get the flavor of how this moves. We get our coast watchers reporting in, then we get our recon naval search aircraft reporting in, the ships they see, and then finally we get ground troops telling us the planes, the Japanese planes that they see in the air. All right, our seagulls reported some things out by Pearl Harbor, but we've been reporting a lot out there. I assume that it's just submarines. All right, they're going to bomb into Medan here. Okay, 156 casualties. They've really been, the bombing runs into Medan have been very successful. Here's 16 more Bettys, 46 casualties this time. Obviously, this group doesn't have any anti-aircraft in it. 39 Bettys now on Moresby, 24 casualties reported there, and then into Medan again. Okay, 164. That's what I'm saying. Boy, these Dutch just get ripped up by those bombers at Medan for whatever reason. 27 Nels, 20 Bettys in on Moresby, 13 casualties reported. We did damage one plane. We say we did anyway. Okay, our troops still reporting back about various Japanese aircraft that are flying over the top of their heads. And it's a lot. Obviously, Lodric has a lot of air traffic going on. So we're going to see a lot of things. Okay, we got a Dutch sub here, and of course, found by a sub chaser. We're in the shallow water, so not surprising, but I'm hoping to get something lucky down here. Now, we take no damage there. I'm hoping to get something lucky because I know he's got his carriers right down here by Singapore. And you just never know. You get one coming out of port, you slip through the escort screen, and maybe. You never know. But now a PB, I think we got there. You can see all of these ships converging. They're like, we've got sub activity. We're probably just going to have to move these out of the shallow water. We're having absolutely no luck here. And, the Dutch subs, well, he takes a hit there against a DMS. That's a destroyer minesweeper, which does have ASW ability. I mean, we're just not getting any joy there, so we may just have to move on and try to put those Dutch subs somewhere else, in the deep water preferably. But again, he's done a great job with the escorts, so we'll see. Okay, 38th Division out here at Wu Chao for the Japanese against the group that we have here, which is really 16th Group Army. Um, he's just bombarding. He's been doing that turn after turn. It looks like we're pretty equally matched for now. About 14,000 troops apiece. He actually takes 23 casualties, and we took 8, so he had a couple guns backfire or something. Now he's unloading at Babar, just like to say that, the cartoon Babar. Um, and he will take that. I mean, we don't have anything on Babar, and he does indeed, and there were no casualties. I mean, we had no one on the island other than civilians. Now this group, Akoi Sequoia, they've got nothing left. Nothing. I mean, literally nothing as far as combat value. They're going to retreat out of here. Where can they go? Who knows? I mean, I guess we're going to go right here to this base, but they just don't have any combat ability left, and we have no way to get them any. And so let's see here. We took 32 casualties. Okay, I mean, we don't have too many men left in there. Now he's going to take this base that's southeast of Sabang here on the coast. He has moved into Medan. Of course, he's been bombing us like crazy. That's where we have the majority of our forces. This is Lang Saw. We didn't have anything there, so he just walks in. Allied bombardment at Moresby, so we're tossing artillery out his way. It doesn't look like we do anything. Maybe we disrupt him. We can hope. All right, now we're into the expansion part of the turn, which means all of the quote unquote actions happened. So March 7th was really quiet. We had the usual Japanese bombing activity, but we did find one of the subs out by Perth with a couple of destroyers. Unfortunately, I believe those were American destroyers. They really only have a 2 ASW here, so they're okay finding the subs usually, I mean, they're fine to put along as escorts, although you at least want two of them. One of them is probably not good enough. But with two of them, I mean, they do a good job of finding the subs, which will keep the subs occupied. But as far as destroying subs, not quite as much. Not quite as much, certainly. But hopefully, I mean, we've got depth charges on those things. I know that they're armed, and so maybe we'll knock out one or two. Just strike back a little bit for the cargo we lost. And see some things moving around. 48th Chinese Corps arrives at Chongqing. And it's now March 8th, 1942, as we click over to the next day. Hopefully, March 8th will be pretty quiet as well. I mean, it's not as good, you know, for the excitement level of the recording, but it is better for our chances to win this game. All right, our sub, the Grayling, is right out here by Moresby. Now, that is in the deep water, but he is found by a Japanese destroyer. Oh, this is a big group. Okay. So the Japanese have 3 battleships, 5 destroyers. They are bringing more troops. You can see the AP there. Damn, I mean, we got in here, right? But we were sighted by the escort. So it was an ASW attack, but man, it would have been nice to get that transport. Well, we're there. That's all you can do. He's doing a good job of escorting. We're in the deep water. We were in on a transport task force, but he's got 5 or 6 destroyers out there. Okay, Japanese sub out here by Suva, But we found him. The destroyer Jarvis is out here. ASW attack, but we get nothing done. Again, it's an American destroyer early war. You're not going to do a whole lot. Yes, here we go. This is what we want. The Edsel is out here against a Japanese sub. Yeah, it looked like we got some hits there, but I guess not. ASW attack. So he fired 4 torpedoes at us. So he actually got his torpedoes off before we made our ASW attack, and then scoots off. But this is what we want out of our escorts because now we're pressuring him, not the other way around. Oh, he got in on a little AKL. So this is off Pearl Harbor. You can see Pearl Harbor there. We've got the little AKL 1 point cargo ship, the Island Mail, that's going back and forth to Johnston. I think I have this on continuous supply. I mean, it's only a 1 point ship. Uh, well, he missed. Enemy surface combat. Did you see that right up on the north, right here? Well, it's doing it again. We're resuming course at Darwin. But it says enemy surface. You got to remember those because it'll tell, obviously it's telling you where enemy ships, even though we can't see them on the map. If our task force is trying to maneuver around them, well, they're there. Oh, how about that? The Jarvis is going to take a second bite at this one. Again, don't tease me like that with the animation. It looked like we hit something, but we did not. Another ASW attack, but hey, we know he's there. Okay, he's going to go after the Moana Ala. And did he hit it? No, he did not. He was attacking from the surface here. Um, and this is another ship I think I have going out to Johnston Island, another 1 point cargo ship. He attacked it, but no damage. So excellent. Okay, we see the Japanese sub. What found it? It was again a destroyer. Now, this is the Voyager. That is a British destroyer. That is an 8 ASW. We didn't get anything. Well, uh, we're putting him on notice out by Perth that we know where the hell he is. We're doing a good job of finding that. Okay, well, here comes bombardment from the Yamashiro into Port Moresby. And again, we've talked about this before, and I try not to oversell it like, yay, we're getting bombarded. But it's good we're at least forcing him to tear up Port Moresby a little bit because Port Moresby will be his sooner rather than later. He takes 19 casualties. We take 91. You can see all the firing going on here. He actually just hit our troops here. I'm not seeing any damage to anything else. He's got 4 full battleships over here and he's got more troops unloading now. And we saw that. We saw that transport coming over. He needed more troops here. 29 casualties as they dump on the ground or on the beach out there. Okay, I mean there's nothing we can do about it. Can't believe those 2 AKLs fought off. Oh, I say fought off, ran off, maybe from 2 Japanese, or at least 1 Japanese sub, maybe 2 Japanese subs out west of Pearl Harbor, in between Pearl Harbor and Johnston Island. And that's what I like to do. I like to take 2 AKLs, have them do continuous supply to Johnston, Midway, because if you lose them, you've lost 2 full points. It's just not a big deal. All right, that battleship force is now doing invasion support off Moresby. Our defensive guns fired off 12 coastal guns. Sometimes you'll get a hit in there, but not this time, unfortunately. You saw our task force off Suva there was trying to avoid where we now know that he has a sub. We're seeing Japanese ships out by Adu, Japanese aircraft off the northern coast of Australia. Now that's interesting because we may be starting to see him bring a carrier down or carrier task force down by Australia. I mean, obviously we know something's there. We said we spotted aircraft, but that could also be off of a cruiser or a battleship because they do have recon aircraft. So maybe that's what we're seeing. We're spotting a lot of sub chasers. We spotted an AK, that Catalina did, but it didn't take the shot, unfortunately, down by Oosthaven. Okay, here comes Chinese bombing. 15 nates in, we take no damage. 10 Oscars on the sweep over Changsha. Nothing happening there. Okay, this is over Cagayan. Now then, he is going to bring. Now this is interesting. Is this off of a carrier? It's off of a carrier of some sort. Zeros, Nates, Vows. He may have taken his carriers all the way back to the home islands to fit them out. Yeah, he got one of our seagulls. You know I love these seagulls up here at Cagayan. They've done such a great job. He, hits the runway, the air base. He's tired of seeing those things fly around. So he finally brought at least, one, could be a carrier escort, could be a small light carrier, something over there that's got planes because he's tired of them. 162 casualties on that stack. Okay, 28 bombers in here, 50 casualties on the ground. Again, this is this group trying to get over here to Ai Chang, but they just keep getting bombed and bombed. 27 casualties there. 3 Tojos doing a sweep over here. I'm impressed that he's keeping his patience. He keeps doing the sweeps because eventually I'm going to try to sneak some fighters in here and pick off an unescorted group of bombers. But he continues to sweep, especially there in the south. 25 Sallies up here by Yunnan. They cause no casualties on the ground, surprisingly. Okay, 19 Sonia's in on that group. 1 damage Sonia. And 9 more on the follow-up. Nothing happened there. His bombing hasn't done quite as much damage this time, but maybe I'm speaking too soon. 6 Anns in. No damage there, really. Now, a good Japanese player, as he's doing, is doing all that bombing in China. It also trains his bombers for later on, his bombardiers. You can't train the plane, but the guy is operating the plane. Every time they do one of these bombing runs, it has a chance to up their experience and their bombing ability. Such an important part of this game. We'll talk about our pilot training at some point. We've got a lot of it going on. You start with really bad pilots on the American side, for the most part. The pilots on your carriers are pretty good. They were more professional military pilots, that had been around for a while. Okay, we're all of our recon aircraft are calling back in with what they're seeing out there. Not on their cell phone. Now our troops calling in. All right. Still got the land move attack phase. You can see we got some things combining and moving around here. I would really, we'll talk about we haven't talked about New Zealand much. I've got a lot going on at New Zealand. We just haven't talked about it much. I really use it as the staging base of the South Pacific. Sub Chaser comes in on a Dutch sub, and we do take 1 hit there. The Spearfish is out here, gets found by a Sub Chaser. But nothing, as a matter of fact, 3 of them, but nothing happens there. We did launch, this was a sub attack. We launched 4 torpedoes. This Dutch sub now has been located and they're coming after it with some PBs. They're unloading at Tawi Tawi. I just wanted to say that. Those a lot of fun names down there by the Philippines. Here's the land move attack phase. We'll see if we get any more action this turn. This has been exactly the kind of turn you want. Now we're out here at Wu Chao. He is bombarding us. We took 7 casualties. Okay, well, we're kind of like I said, until he gets more forces over here, he's not going to be able to take Wu Chao. Allied bombardment at Moresby, so he is not going to assault us there yet. We're lobbing more artillery over, 16 casualties on the Japanese side there. That looks like it was it. My goodness. This was, I would say, the slowest turn we've seen, maybe since the start of the war. We lose no ships this time. We did report that we hit one of his sub chasers. Who knows if that's true or not with one of our recon aircraft. We did find a lot of his subs off Perth. So everything we did during the setup phase over by Perth last time is exactly what we wanted to happen. Now, when you see one of his subs pop up in the animation, and then you wait to see the ship that comes over the top of it, it's a destroyer. And that's what you want to see over and over and over. And that's what Lodrick has been seeing on his side, right? Every time we have a sub that seems to have acquired a lock on a ship, all of a sudden, when you see the ship pop up in the animation, it's a sub chaser, it's a destroyer, it's a PB. And, we've been doing a lot of the same, but we got caught out a little bit at Perth last time. I still, am a little salty about it, but I'll quit talking about it after this time. We get a couple of new destroyers out at Cape Town. That's always fun. The Fern Castle, a tanker showed up by Karachi or Abadan. I didn't see which one. Um, when we come back for the setup next time, March 9th, we're going to go down the east coast of Australia. We'll go look at Port Moresby, and if we have time, we'll go look at New Zealand. I want to check out the Kiwis when we can. Sitting at the bottom of the world, the Kiwis are. We'll go check that out. Auckland and Wakapiki and Wellington and all those places, Dunedin, all the places down there. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Good turn for the Allies. Let's keep those up. Till next time, Strategy Gaming Dojo. Have a great one.